Hello everybody, it's Vinyl Richie here. Nah, I'm just kidding, but since I'm off camera, and I usually am not, I had to fucking take the opportunity to do my little imitation there. So check it out. Last time I made a video, I said, hey, what's the fucking game in the background? I thought that some of y'all would remember Sword of Fargoal, but apparently not. And to tell you the truth, I didn't play this back in the day either, so I'm not... There's like no implied judgment there or anything. But check this shit out. What this is, and then we're going to talk about some records in just a minute, so... but this is... It's really slow, for one thing. This is like, it's basically what an RPG was, a computer RPG, as opposed to D&D, right? It was what an RPG was in, like, 1984. So, like, you know, you have all these stats and shit like that, and basically the gist of it is, you have to go around and, like, it's all dark, so that's your guy right there, your little sprite, right? Oh, that's weird. There's something wrong with this. Yeah, my controller's jacked. Check this shit out, man. I fucking played this thing so much that I broke the goddamn joystick. So now this thing is acting all weird. But anyway, that's like gold there. It's just like ignore the noise. So I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this. Bottom line is, see, there's like little sacks of gold you have to collect so you can get experience points. And then, like, as you wander around through here, you'll like run into little monsters, and there's shit like that. That'll be either like a treasure or a trap. Oh, fuck it, let me reset this thing. I mean, what the hell? If we're gonna do this shit at all, let's do it right? Yeah, this thing's been acting kind of wonky. I got this thing that I'm trying to work with, which is already kind of weird because I'm not used to a joystick. I mean, I got used to a joystick again, and now, yeah. Alright, so let's do this. Yeah, there we go. So you start on dungeon level 1, and basically what you have to do is you have to go all the way like down to and find the Sword of Fargoal and then bring it back to the surface. And even though the game is really simple, it's actually kind of hard just because it moves slowly, so you kind of have to be extra patient and like... Actually, that's really what it is. It's really a battle with your own patience because you regenerate hit points. So if the monsters gang up on you and fuck you, you know, you can still, like, kick back for a while, but it's just hard to sit there and wait, because it's a fucking... I mean, the computers weren't really quite powerful enough to support a game like this back then, so... And I know it's acting all jacked again, too. But there's a monster, okay, so that's a werebear there, you see? And so you have to go around and, like, find shit. There's an ogre. Yeah, I don't know, it's weird. This actually has never happened before. It's acting all fucked, but you're getting the idea. It's sort of like a quest game. You have to like find your way around, and you have to like find staircases to go down. But if you go to that little temple there, that's where you drop off your gold to get experience points. So that's what this shit is. It's just a really simple, really primitive, I almost said action RPG, but it isn't really even an action RPG. Alright, so I'm gonna kill that shit. And speaking of Vinyl Rich, actually, since, actually, that music's gonna annoy me, so hang on. You can tell I didn't plan this super well, right? So, Vinyl Richie a few days ago, posted a video where he showed all of his Danzig related stuff. So, like, he busted out the Misfits records, and the Samhain records, and the Danzig records. And, I thought it would be fun to do one of those as well. So I'm going to show off my shit. Now, a lot of the stuff that I have, I frankly had a lot more than him. So I'm probably just going to do Misfits, depending on how the time works out. That's what I pulled. I don't know, I'd like to play some of the Misfits, because they really are one of my all-time favorite bands, but that just seems like the sort of band you're going to get a fucking copyright claim for. So instead we're listening to, I don't know if this is Messiacs or Messiacs. I'm going to say Messiacs, because it kind of sounds better. And I don't know who the fuck these guys are. They're some nobodies. But Cult Metal Classics reissued it. So I kind of bought it just on faith, because they tend to do good stuff. And I was pre-ordering the Messiah records from them anyway. And sure enough, it's really fucking good. I mean, it's not tremendous, but it's totally fun listen, you know? And actually, on that note, I got this one too, which I think is Swedish. Okay, now last time I said a band was Swedish, they were actually Norwegian, so my apologies to, I was going to say all the Swedes and the Norwegians, but I don't know if that's really apt. Fuck it though, who cares? Anyway, this Jonah Quiz one, I guess. And I am pretty sure this is Swedish, no bullshit, but it's also kind of awesome because it's the ultimate anthology and it has 11 songs. Like, that's the kind of band that I go for, when their whole career is 11 songs, and they put everything they had into those 11 songs. And it's actually kind of apropos, because it's kind of what the Misfits did in a way. Just because they recorded so little. And they re-recorded so many fucking songs, too. It's like, I don't know. Oh, so there's one other thing I want to show you. You know, because you know what record, I've shit on this record a lot on this channel. If you've been watching me for a while, you've heard me go off on this more than once. But you know something? I am finally starting to come around a little bit on this first Blood Good. Now, it's still corny as fuck. And truthfully, I probably wouldn't bother showing it. But Glenn Danzig, if he were to watch this, he would probably be really pissed off about the fact that I'm showing his records alongside a super cheesy Jesus metal record. So, in honor of Mr. Danzig, here we go, fucking Blood Good. Look at how corny these guys are, too. But if Danzig's watching, he's like, I could take all 4 of those fucking guys, you know? So that's that. It's not a great record. If you have to have a Blood Good record and you don't have any, buy the second one. It's much better. I mean, but this one's so bad, I wasn't going to give the second one a chance. In fact, here comes the per video Scott Waters mentioned. Scott sent me a copy of it to check out, and he was right. It's actually really good. I think there's one song on this Blood Good record that I just listened to a little while ago that I would actually call a good metal song. Other than that, it's pretty fucking cheesy. And not that heavy, but you know something, it's kind of good, man. The songs are kind of fun, and I could shit on it all day long, but I don't know, man, that's why I just don't really have like a straightforward relationship with a lot of my records, you know? It's like, I mean, some of them I just love unequivocally, like this Detest record, right? Which I pulled out to play. I haven't actually played it yet. And this one's Swedish, by the way. Not Norwegian. Or, this Devastation one, which is also great. Sounds a lot like, early Possessed. But, yeah, some records I'm not so sure on. Like this one, man, this Uncontrollable record. I mean, it's kind of cool. It's nice and private looking. This guy looks like a big dork. And hell, so does this guy. And this guy is dressed for picking up men, even though he might not realize it. Because it was still the 80s and all. And they were in Farmingdale, New York, not, well, anyway. Yeah, and there are all sorts of, like, little things. Like, this little fucking dedication to Fritz Lang. That's kind of weird, too. What the fuck is up with that? But I don't know, man. I just played this earlier today, and I can't remember any of the songs, you know? And there are only 4 of them, so it's not bad. You know, it's just not really a face melter or anything, so. Alright, so let's think for a second. I showed you what we're playing. I insulted Glenn Danzig. And I showed the Sword of Fargoal game, so I think we're ready to go to the Misfits records. So the Misfits were like one of my bands when I got through high school. And you know, one band I've never fully appreciated, I really think, is the Ramones. And I really think the reason for that is because I discovered the Misfits first. And I was already such a huge Misfits fan by the time I was like 15, 16, that when I was like 18 and I heard the Ramones, it was like, yeah, I totally dug what they were doing. You know what I mean? Because the whole like 3-chord song thing, the Misfits had fucking got me going on that. But like, Sheena is a punk rocker, London Dungeon, yeah, London Dungeon kind of wins. You know what I mean? Night of the Living Dead or I Want to Sniff Some Glue. Night of the Living Dead is just one of my speed, man. It's kind of how I roll. You know, the whole horror thing, I just was all over that shit. even then. So, yeah. And I'm not saying this to shit on the Ramones. If I discovered the Ramones first, maybe this wouldn't have worked out that way. That's just kind of the way it is. So, like, Greeno likes to call the Ramones sort of the ultimate rock and roll band, and he has a point. I totally get it. But I still like the Misfits better. Alright, so I think I have everything handy here, but I guess we'll find out. And I'm going to... Ah, shit. I don't know, maybe I should go the order I got him in. Yeah, let's go the order I got him in, because then I'll tell more stories about him then. So this is my very first one. Now, when I bought this record in 1987 or 88, the only thing I knew about the Misfits was that Cliff Burton always wore the t-shirt. No shit. That was about it. Never saw any of the records. It seemed like the most obscure thing. I was also living in Germany at the time, so any of these records were imports, pretty much. There are exceptions that we'll get to. But anyway, so this turned up at the store one day, and I remember it cost 25 marks. And usually records only cost 20 marks. So my friends were all like, man, I don't know if I want to like gamble 25 marks on it. I was like, give it here, man. So, yeah, and to this day, this is one of my favorite records. You know, it's funny because I can't listen to this in order. Like, Static Age is actually the first song on side one. It goes through here, and then starts over here. But when I played it, it started with Angel Fuck, and I played it that way for years before I ever came around. So, yes, there's all sorts of weird stuff about this, like politics that Danzig pulled because he, like, had beef with Bobby Steele or something. But, you know, so I don't give a shit about any of that. The fact is, this is a fantastic record. Every song is great. Except maybe Come Back, which is a little bit too long. But the funny thing about Come Back is it's really only about 3 minutes long. It just feels long because everything else is only about 1.5 minutes long, you know? Yeah, I mean, absolute all-time, very important record to just the formation of my musical taste. I don't think it's too late to say that when I was that age, so. And yeah, and this was all I knew. So, like, part of why I'm, like, doing it this way is because, like, you know, I hung out with my friends, like, my metalhead friends and shit. We were all into records and shit. Mostly metal. We were starting to get into punk around this time, but, we like, made up our own stories about this shit because, like, there was nothing here. I mean, this is it. There's nothing on the inside. No information, right? Nothing at all. So, like, so we just, like, pick up on, like, little things, like the hand claps in American Nightmare, and just, like, make little jokes about that, too. We'd forget about understanding any of the lyrics, so, like, we'd make up our own stories, like, when Where Eagles Dare, right? We said, you know, the line is, we walk the streets at night, we go where eagles dare. So the joke was that Where Eagles Dare was the name of the bar. And they're like, yeah, we go where eagles dare, you know? Yeah, so that was the first one I got. Then, I got it for another record. What are we going to put on? Oh, not Bloodgood. Yeah, let's listen to this one. Which, Salem's Rise. This is like $1,000 record or something if you find an original. Honestly, there are $1,000 records where you listen to them and you go, yeah, that sounds like a fucking $1,000 record. This one does not sound like a $1,000 record at all. In fact, I would be super pumped if I spent a tenth of that on this record. But as a $20 reissue, this is a very enjoyable record, which is why I'm going to throw it on right now. So, which, Salem's Rise. Yeah, and don't quote me on that price thing, too, because I've actually never seen one offered for sale. But I've heard it was about 100 run, and yeah, I think go for pretty huge cash now. So just fire that bad boy up, and then we'll move on. So, so I'm pretty sure the next one I got was this one, and I tip of the hat to my dad because. Again, I was in Germany, right? Couldn't find this shit anywhere. My dad went on a business trip to the States, and I would always ask him to look for records for him when he went overseas, you know, because he would go to conferences and shit, you know. He worked for a Japanese company, went to Japan, and they're like, oh yeah, see if you can find that first Cosmos factory. Of course he couldn't, but he'd look. Actually, I remember one time I specifically asked about the first Cosmos factory, and he said he called a couple record stores, and they were like, dude, forget it. Maybe you're in Japan, but you're not going to find that fucking record just sitting around. Sorry. You know? It's a great record, though. There's a bootleg reissue of it, but anyway. So my dad brought me this record from the States, which is pretty awesome. It's fucking, I mean, look at those guys, right? Earth AD, though, the classic artwork from Mad Mark Rude. It's kind of funny that Vinyl Richie showed the German version of this one, which has the covers inverted and colorized, and it also has 2 extra songs. This is like the original track list where Hellhound is it, but the other one has Die Die My Darling and We Bite on it additionally. Yeah. As far as stories, I mean, this picture is really just so fucking weird. There weren't any stories, you know? Like the way this dude has 1 ear and 1 horn. Yeah, I mean, this front one is pretty nuts, but the back is even more nuts. Yeah, another thing was these names. Like, I didn't know who the hell Robo was. You know? Fucking the guy's name is Robo. You know, then I found it on Black Flag Records, and, you know, it kind of grew from there. But initially, man, no idea. And then it was produced by Spot, you know. Yeah, again, no information. You know, that's it. And actually, at this point, too, in time, too, Green Hell was on here. But, you know, we knew the I guess it must have been 88, because before we listened to the Metallica record, it was like, well, where's Last Caress? You know? So, the next one I got, I'm pretty sure was this one. And this one gave rise to lots more stories, because not only you have that classic pus head art, but you also have these great band shots, where you can't see a fucking thing, except, again, for Robo. Who's sitting there just looking like a nice guy. Like, Robo's your pal. These guys are gonna fucking kill you, but Robo will shake your hand, you know what I mean? Like Robo, he'll give you a stick of gum before the other guys beat the shit out of you, you know? Yeah. So, yeah, this was another one of those where, like, my friends looked at this and it was like, because this was like, I don't know, 15, 20 marks or something like that, when this turned up in Germany as an import. It was like 3 songs, man, I don't know, and I was like, so... It's funny in retrospect, like, it was always that guy, but it didn't really work out that way. Well, it wasn't intentional, it just sort of happened, you know. Alright, so the next one I turned up would be, it's a little bit of a tie between these two. I don't remember, I think I probably saw this one first. And this is basically the 12-inch version of the 45 that came out here, Evil Live. Here's another story, by the way. You remember that picture of Robo we just showed you? Well, see, this kind of looks like a face right there. I don't know what it's actually supposed to be, but it kind of looks like there's a dude with short hair, and like those are his eyebrows and a nose and a mouth. So our theory was that that was Robo, and they just killed him on this record cover. Like they sacrificed him to Satan or something like that. So Robo is dead. Yeah, this was fucking nuts. There's so many little weird things about this record where if you don't have any information you pick up on, like the way, you know, there's that live version of Mommy Can I Go Out and Kill Tonight on Walk Among Us that goes right into London Dungeon. Well, they have the very end of that Mommy Can I Go Out and Kill Tonight on here, then the Hall of London Dungeon, instead of the fade that's on Walk Among Us. But the way it cuts in, it starts out with "Aye, aye, aye," because he's saying, "Mommy, can I go out and kill?" Saying "Aye, aye, aye," right? But it's like he just goes "Aye, aye, aye," and then Henry Rollins' backing vocals on this thing are fucking crazy. And then like he's fucking yelling at the audience, "One more fucking time, you assholes, you die!" You know, shit like that. It just sounded like the most chaotic fucking thing I ever heard. Now again, keep in mind, I was completely new to punk at this point, but like I had the Sex Pistols record. This sounded like some weird fringy ass shit, and it's absolutely great. This record, I just played this the other day, so it has a very special place in my heart. One of my real biggest mysteries is how the fuck this guy would have been able to afford a custom bass like that off what he was making off the Misfits. But whatever. And of course I've got to show that. The fucking classic Crimson Ghost. Although back then I didn't know it was a Crimson Ghost. That was another thing I learned later. Yeah. If you're like an internet age kid, man, this is what we did back in the 80s. You had to like figure shit out, and if you couldn't figure it out, you just had to make up your own stories. You know, that's just how it was. And that's one thing I do think the internet's kind of sucks about it a little bit, because it's kind of spoiled that, you know? That weird sort of mystique that a band like the Misfits could have just by virtue of being so obscure. So anyway, I turned up a copy of this one at the local shop not too long after that. I actually had never bought that one. A friend of mine had that one. I found the LP and I got this one. And then actually when I went back to Germany for a visit, I got that German one because I realized I couldn't get it over here. So I did that. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure you all know this, you know. It's a great record. And the other thing about this too, by the way, is I hadn't heard studio versions of any of these songs. Remember, the only studio records I had at this point were Legacy of Brutality, Earth AD, and the Die Die My Darling 12-inch. None of those songs overlapped with any of these, okay? I didn't know that any of the 45s existed or anything. So, again, it was super mysterious. It was like, what the fuck was all these, like, it's like a whole set, and, like, none of this is on any album that being able to find, you know? Little did I know the MC5 had done that deliberately, as opposed to just out of my ignorance way back in the 60s. So, next one I would have found when I moved back to the States. The first time I went to the record store, I saw a copy of this thing, and it was actually at the time the brand new reissue. This would have been late 1988. It was a brand new reissue of this on Ruby, but I found this original pressing when I first moved to San Francisco, so I upgraded it to that, you know. It's funny because by comparison, this cover looks so tame, you know. They're like well lit, you know, and it has like a picture that's obviously from an old horror movie. There's that sort of weird like ambiguity about it. So, yeah, there's a little bit of water damage on like the inner sleeve and shit, but there's the inner. That's what the label looks like. Yeah, it has the black label. Yeah, and of course this solved some of the mystery around, you know, the studio versions. Although, you know, Vinyl Richie mentioned this too. You listen to this record, and Mommy, Can I Go Out and Kill Tonight, that live version, sounds so rough and so dirty compared with like how relatively, I mean, definitely not slick, but like clean the other songs sound, that it just seems wrong. Here's the Fiend Club order form. Hey, Fiends, you can order a Misfits shirt. Or those 45s, just send them, what, $5? $6. Actually, no, these are the shirts. Never mind, I lied. You know what's funny? The biggest one's an L. Like my fat ass would fit into those. But I guess it was the 80s, so... Oh, I didn't even notice this. Check it out. You could also get Beware. You get for $5. And you could get the Who Killed Marilyn 45 also for $5. I'll bet that felt expensive if you're paying the same for the 12-inch as you were for the 7-inch. And back then, you wouldn't have anticipated the inflated online prices, because I'll tell you, I'll buy originals of a lot of things, but I'm not going to go hunt all this shit down. As much as I love this band, and you know. Anyway, so that was my next one. The next one I came across, this is a boot, but this is a very early boot, and kind of the one to have if you can come across this. This is a very true to the original boot of Beware. There are ways of telling. I could point it out, but there's not much point. But anyway, this is a pretty faithful reproduction of the original, which has those 7 songs, including Last Caress. Look at that. So, yeah, drums on side 1, Mr. Jim. And again, it's funny, check it out. I can tell I put that in here with like the ads for stereo put. like record holders and shit like that. But I'm busting this out in order to show you the Crimson Ghost on there again. If you go and look this thing up, one thing you'll find about, I remember reading somewhere online was that these labels tended to fall off on this version of the record. And at least the Crimson Ghost one did indeed fall off on this one, and I glued it back on myself. So that was kind of the last big one for a long, long time, as far as the actual big ones go, until years and years later, this thing finally got released. And this really kind of filled in all the remaining gaps. Although the funny thing, since this had already been, by the time this came out on record, this had already been released in the box set that had come out on CD. But even though it had the complete Static Age album on one of the CDs in there, it actually didn't include the last song, In the Doorway, which is, in addition to being a great song, is also a song that I have never come across anywhere else. So. Same thing with Return of the Fly, actually. I had a bootleg 45 at one point that had Return of the Fly on it. But as far as I know, this is the only legitimate release of that one, too. Yeah, and you know, these versions sound a lot more like sort of professional, a lot less sort of, like they were recorded in the basement than the Legacy of Brutality material. And, I mean, I love it all, you know, I really, really, really do. But, the ones that I heard way back when I was a wee lad are kind of the closest to my heart. Alright, so we're about half done, and I see 27 minutes in, so I don't think we're doing the Solid records today, but let's move on to the 45s. Let me just tell you right up front that none of these are originals, okay? What I'll kind of do is show off the different versions, because these things have been like bootlegged so many times that there are different versions that you can kind of talk about. So, as far as the order, I got these in. I think I remember, but you know, it doesn't really matter, so I'm just going to go through these. So. Here's the Cough Cool with She on the B-side with that weird version with the electric piano. And, yeah, this particular version, it says the Unfits on the label, because I guess the pressing plants would be fooled by such things. Yeah. There you go, that corny-ass cursive font. And, yeah, at about maybe 3 minutes of music on this whole thing. She is 1 minute and 22 seconds, and Cough Cool 2 minutes and 14 seconds. Okay, so 4 minutes of music. Still, though, awesome stuff, man. And when did this come out? 77 or 78? It's wonderful. Absolutely wonderful record. Here's a Bullet 45. You know, if there's ever been a boot of this with the Better Dead on Red back cover, I have never seen it. All of the redone versions that I've seen have had this back cover. So this one does, though, have a reproduction of the lyric sheet. Although I can show you one of the little things that tell you this one. So here's the lyric sheet for this. This particular boot, there are a few ways you can tell apparently, but one of the ways is that right there, this is so specific. Okay, see what it says, the dirt's gonna be your desert. Dessert, I think it's supposed to be, but he pronounces it like desert in the song too. This particular one, because of how they like mimeographed it, or however they copied it back then, it came out as Dint's. The Dint's gonna be your desert. So, little fun fact. I'm actually gonna take that out of the thing. Surprised it stayed in there for so long because I usually don't keep them inside on the 45s. Anyway, though, again, a classic 45. Although all these songs were side one of Beware, so by the time I got this, I actually already had it. But I was such a big Misfits fan. What am I going to do? Pass when something like that comes your way? Okay, now these next two I actually got at Reckless Records on Haight Street not long when I moved to after I moved to San Francisco. And these are the ones where they called it Plan 6. Like they just turned that 9 upside down and they bootlegged it. Still kind of a nice job with that label though. And no insert, I don't believe, yeah. So there's that Horror Business 45. I used to have a t-shirt of that too. Actually, there were some pictures of Frank Below I remember from Anthrax, who had that same shirt. It was a white one, and I had the exact same shirt. I was so proud of that fucking thing. Way back in the 80s. In fact, I think that was a size L, because back then, when I only weighed like 140 pounds, I could fit into that fucking thing. There's that back. And the next one, again, I got this one right around the same time, although look at that back. That's a pretty nice looking label there too, isn't it? But this is the Night of the Living Dead 45, which has Where Eagles Dare and Ratfink, which I actually heard before I ever heard the Alan Sherman original. And that was a weird experience. After hearing the Ratfink, to hear, so like someone, it's like one of my sister's friends was like, oh, I think I have that on a record. He busts out this Alan Sherman record. And sure enough, that's actually the song. I was like, what the fuck, you know?
Hey friends, welcome to Vinylize. I'm Jarrett New, and today we're going to be unboxing yet another mystery record. Now you're probably saying to yourself, wasn't it just last week that you unboxed a mystery record? And you're right, it was.
I don't know why, but for some reason my fucking phone cuts me off at like 33 minutes, so I'll stitch this together later. You know, so I'm going to put on the Night of the Living Dead 45 too. I don't give a shit. If Glenn puts an ad on, well, whatever, then maybe he'll hear me talking about Blood Good too. I haven't played this in a while and I fucking love this record so much. Yeah, one thing about this one that's kind of known for is that it sounds really shitty compared with the other ones. Because actually on most of these 45s, the sound is pretty damn good, really. I mean, I keep kind of trying not to say clean or produced or anything like that because it sounds... You hear that? It's a pretty different version from what's on the LP than on Walk Among Us. Would have sucked if I spilled that, huh? Okay. So actually, before I got that one, I think one of my friends in Germany got me these next three, if I'm not mistaken. So there's Halloween. I love that pumpkin. I'd wear a t-shirt of just that. And as always, a fucking great band shot. Look at that. You can't argue with that shit. And the fucking lyrics to Halloween 2, which until I got this I thought was just a Samhain song because I'd only ever heard it on November Coming Fire, right? So this version is, oh, I don't know, it's not really as dark as that one, I suppose. Does this have an insert? I don't remember. I don't think so. No. God, these inners. Yeah, this one has a shitty label. Yeah, see, that's kind of disappointing compared with that Night of the Living Dead one, right? I always kind of resented that Plan 6 business a little bit because it just seemed so fucking cheesy. But hats off to whoever did the Plan 6 versions for doing a nicer job with the center labels than this. Alright, so let's put that there, and then it's already time to flip this. See, it takes more time to talk about the record than to actually play it, because they're so short. But, we've got two left. Who Killed Marilyn, which is technically a Glenn Danzig solo single. I have no idea what the band politics were around that. I can't say I really care all that much. Here we go though, Song About the Bar coming up. Did I show the back of this one? I'm not sure if I did. I think I did. Okay, so back to Who Killed Marilyn. Yeah, it's funny. Someone actually colored in the eyes and the lips with marker. And apparently this was done in a lot of the originals, too. Why is this in here? Like, it was printed in black and white, but a lot of the original ones you'll find will have that colored in like that. But yeah, if you look really closely, you can kind of see the marker, you know, so. I think I bought this new, too. I don't remember. Actually, I think I remember the story, but it's not what's going into. Anyway, this is the, classic record. The Spook City, USA, which is a little bit of a cornball tune. Show up these labels. Yeah. Ghouls on this one. They get a couple points for creativity. Look at that. Maybe that's as close as they thought they could get away with to Crimson Ghost before someone busted them. But the fact is, I don't think anyone would have fucking known anyway, so. Alright, and here we go, the last one. What is the last one? You don't know? Three Hits from Hell. There it is. It's actually my second copy of this one. They did a really nice job with this one. So, yeah, I mean, that actually looks pretty legit. I don't know what the original center label looked like, but just comparing this with the LPs and that, I mean, that's kind of what the Plan 9 labels tended to look like, so. Horror Hotel and Ghouls Night Out there. And oh, this back picture I've always thought was awesome, too, that weird-ass skull. I think this one, yeah, this one has a little insert in it, too. Again, this is a reproduction, but that's still pretty damn cool for the Misfits Fiend Club. Yeah, you hear how bass heavy this sounds and kind of weird? I don't know what the deal is. I'm sure there's a story. You can probably read it online somewhere. Because that's just how it is. So, yeah, that's it. I'm trying to think of just something I should put on real quick, but the fact is, man, you can listen to all this shit online now, you know? So you're going, okay, what's going to be a really cool thing that no one's heard before, but there isn't anything, so. That's pretty much my stories about the Misfits. By the time I got the 45s, I kind of knew them better. Again, I didn't have much information, you know? But, I moved to San Francisco in '94. So I probably got Horror Business and Night of the Living Dead right around in late '94, early '95. The other ones, I probably had all of them by like 90, 91, 92, somewhere in there. So by that point, their popularity was already kind of starting to come back. Probably to a large degree for the same reason that I got into it, that I discovered them, you know, which is the fucking Metallica. I mean, I'm just being honest here, right? Where'd I put that fucking... Look, every fucking video I make now is going to be like, where's the fucking sleeve? Where'd I put the fucking sleeve? Where's the fucking sleeve? It's probably just because I'm being a dumbass here. Yeah, you know something? It's because the fucking camera's on, so. Fuck it. I'll just hold it until I'm done here and I'll figure it out then. So. Oh, there it is. So, yeah, so the stories aren't quite as good with these other ones, because the other thing, too, is I was hanging around with different people who weren't necessarily as into the Misfits, so I would have just been making up stories to tell to myself, which isn't really as much fun. Here, I'll put on a minute of Who Killed Marilyn. I remember someone had a magazine with some information, so like a lot of the stuff started coming out, and then obviously there was the big resurgence, and then actually first there was the Danzig shit, you know. I actually had a big chip on my shoulder about Danzig solo early on, because in the gatefold of that first record you could see his face. I was like, dude, I want to see pictures like this. You know, I don't want to see, like, what you actually look like. I don't give a shit. What am I going to do? Fucking put it on the wall? You know? Alright, well, that's pretty much all I've got. Fucking 40 minutes. Talking about the Misfits and a bunch of bullshit. Alright, well, thanks for watching. That's what I've got. If you really want to see the other shit, I can show you sometime, but I don't have a whole lot of really special ones. In fact, here, I'll show you my best solid one real quick. Hang on. Oh, maybe I pulled it out and misplaced it. I have one bootleg 45 that is really fucking good. Like, I really don't collect bootlegs, you know, because even if I do dig a band that much, which it's just too much of a pain in the ass. I don't see it. I'll show my original old Bondage Up Yours 45 though while I'm looking. Yeah, I don't see it. Bottom line is there's one bootleg 45. Oh, here's my other copy of this. I thought I had one somewhere. The other one's better. Yeah, okay, well, fuck it, man. That's it. We're done. God's telling me to hang it up, so. Thanks for watching, and that other one you're not missing much. I showed you all the good shit. Take care. Fuck, did this not turn off? Shit.